Do you like my older SMCR shirt? It has so many holes in it. Hi friends and not yet friends, welcome to my little corner of the internet. I've talked a lot about piercings on this channel. I've also talked a bit about my tongue split and stretching piercings for the most part, but I think it's about time we get into some tattoo topics as well. So just in time for summer, the warm weather and short clothes, I'm gonna share some tips with you on how to keep your tattoos looking nice and fresh and vibrant and juicy and all those good things. Some of these tips I would consider more of a quick fix when you're like in a pinch and you need your tattoos to look as good as possible. And some of them are more long-term things to help your tattoos age as beautifully as possible. If you enjoy these types of videos, please let me know by liking this video. And if you'd like to see more from me, maybe consider subscribing so that you never miss another upload. Just a quick disclaimer before we start, all of these tips are meant for heel tattoos. Some of the stuff I'm about to mention can be harmful for fresh tattoos, so please, before you follow any of these tips, make sure that your tattoos are nice and healed to avoid messing them up in any way, okay? Okay, so now that all of that is out of the way, let's get into it. I'm going to start with the quick fix tips for when you roll out of bed and it's the most beautiful sunny day you've ever seen and you decide you want to wear the shortest shorts and the tiniest top and show off all of your beautiful tattoos that you paid so much money for. Or you're like me and as soon as those temperatures go above like 22 degrees max, you refuse to wear any more clothing than you absolutely need to because otherwise you'll melt into an actual puddle. My first tip is to moisturize. It's probably the quickest and easiest thing that you can do to make your tattoos look a lot more like vibrant and nice. I keep having the urge to say juicy, even though that's like kind of gross in the grand scheme of things. Even if you already use lotion every day, a nice like fresh coat of lotion, body oil, whatever you want to use goes such a long way. When your skin is dry and flaky, it goes like kind of grayish and less transparent, which obviously is going to make your tattoos look more dull, versus when you slap on a nice layer of whatever moisturizer you're into, it's going to help soften that very top layer of skin and make it nice and transparent again, and just like your skin is going to drink it up and it's going to just plump up and everything's going to look beautiful again. You know, that's kind of the logic behind it. I personally really hate feeling oily or sticky, especially when I go out, so I try to avoid any kind of lotion that's too rich, if that makes sense. And I usually also avoid body oils. This is my go-to lotion. It's the Isana body cream with cocoa and shea butter. It's a really nice consistency and it also smells nice, even though I technically prefer unscented lotions because sometimes the scents in stuff can like make my skin freak out and make me break out and all those not so fun things. But I usually use this. This is also my daily body lotion. If I feel extra scaly and dry and I want that extra bit of moisture, I also really like rosehip or jojoba oil. Like I said, I don't really use oil a lot because I have sensitive skin and I get body acne and it's just like I hate feeling sticky. But if you don't mind those things and your skin can handle it and you don't break out from them, using body oils is gonna make you glow, especially if you put them on like right before you leave. Your skin is gonna just be so soft and so shiny and it's gonna look almost wet and it's gorgeous. It's really beautiful. I just can't, like, you're literally gonna be shiny like a beautiful like latex like you're made of latex. Tip number 2 is to exfoliate. Now, technically this would happen in the shower before you're done showering and before you moisturize, but it takes a little bit longer or a little bit more effort than just moisturizing when you're heading out the door. So it's number 2, I guess. I don't know. Now, with exfoliating, instead of just quote unquote rehydrating the dry top layer of skin, you're actually removing dead skin cells from your tattoo or from your body in general, not necessarily your tattoo, but you're gonna notice it more on tattoos than this video. Whatever, this video is about tattoos, so we're just gonna say on your tattoo. With exfoliating, you're essentially going to remove the very top layer of dead skin cells, which again in turn is going to make your tattoo look less dull. And if you combine that with moisturizing after, your skin is just going to be soft and squishy and nice, and your tattoo is going to look beautiful because you don't have that extra layer of skin. Like, imagine if you have some artwork and that's your fresh tattoo, right? And as it heals, skin grows over it, and that almost works like putting a piece of parchment paper on top of your beautiful piece of artwork. So it's going to be a little dull, a little faded. You can probably still see it through, but it's just it doesn't pop as much as without the parchment paper. And the more your tattoo heals, the more it ages, the more pieces of parchment paper get layered on top of your artwork, if that makes sense. I'm having doubts about this analogy I've chosen, but we're going to keep going with it. So when you exfoliate, you're removing one of those pieces of parchment paper, and when you do it regularly, you're going to remove another layer of parchment paper, and then you're going to put on some oil or some lotion. With oil or lotion, you're going to get those remaining layers of parchment paper wet, and they're going to become more see-through. And in turn, the artwork underneath the parchment paper / the tattoo underneath your skin, are you following me? It's going to be more clearly visible again. And if you keep up the moisturizing and keep up the exfoliation, over time, the layers of parchment paper are going to dry out less, and the top layers that lay down on the very top are just going to disappear more quickly because you're exfoliating regularly, right? Does that make sense? So now that we're done with the worst analogy ever of my entire life, let's keep talking about exfoliation. Obviously, you could use a store-bought scrub. You could use like a sugar scrub, there's billions of videos out there, I'm sure. Making your own sugar or coffee scrub is super easy. You just kind of take 1 part sugar or coffee grounds, and I think 2 parts whatever oil you like. I love coconut oil for this, and I personally prefer using coffee grounds because I would throw them out anyway, so at least they get like a second use. And you mix those and you apply it to your skin in like circular motions and all those good things, and then you wash it off in the shower. You can also use exfoliating gloves or something like a net sponge. It really all just comes down to preference. I personally prefer gloves and net sponges versus other exfoliants. I don't know, it feels like it removes a step from my shower routine. The only real difference I've personally noticed between using exfoliating gloves or a net sponge versus an oil scrub is just that the oil scrub will leave you with a bit of extra moisture. Like it obviously, because you're using oil, it's going to moisturize your skin a little bit or make your skin feel softer. If you apply body oil afterwards, or you use like a shower oil or a lotion after you're done, really, you're going to really get the same effect one way or the other. So it really just comes down to personal preference. It's important you don't over exfoliate though. 1 or 2 a week is plenty, because if you do it too much, you could risk damaging your skin and in turn again damaging your tattoo, and obviously that's the opposite of what you want. if you're watching this video for tips on how to keep your tattoo looking nice, right? You wouldn't want to damage it. Tip number 3 is to shave / do general hair removal in the area of your tattoo. This is kind of like it can help, but it also sometimes doesn't do much. It really depends on what your body hair is like. Personally, for me, my body hair is pretty dark, but it's also super sparse. So in terms of making my tattoos stand out more, hair removal doesn't really do much for me. Versus if you're someone who has really dark, really thick and a lot of hair, it's obviously going to make a difference because you're removing something that obstructs your tattoo, you know? And if whatever is obstructing your tattoo, in this case the hair, isn't there anymore, you're really going to put the focus on your tattoo. You know, it's kind of obviously, right? I'm not going to go in depth about like any kind of hair removal because I'm not an expert on it. I'm sure you'll find plenty of tutorials and tips and tricks and recommendations from other people on YouTube who actually do remove their body hair on a regular basis and who are just like a lot more skilled at explaining things than I am. But tip number 3 is remove the hair that covers your tattoo so you'll see your tattoo better. For the full effect, you're going to want to combine all 3 of these things I just mentioned, and you're going to want to go in the order of exfoliate, shave, moisturize. And your tattoos are going to look brand spanking new. Unless you do all of that all the time anyway, then you're probably not going to see that much of a difference, but hey.
What would this video be without a visual example? So, of course, I'm going to provide you with one. I have to preface this by saying I do regularly exfoliate and use lotion. This is about 2 days of not doing that for a bit of a stronger visual effect. This particular tattoo is about 7.5 years old. Yeah, this is what it looks like pre-exfoliating, pre-hair removal, although there's not that much hair for me to remove. You can see a little bit, but I don't have a lot of leg hair anyway. This is it pre-everything, my little goatee head. And this is it immediately after exfoliating and shaving. I literally only shaved the goat because I don't usually shave my legs. And I wasn't about to do the whole ordeal for a YouTube video. You can still see my sock is a little bit wet, and you can see quite a bit of difference, I think, especially in the back of the knee area and the goat beard. I think those are the most noticeable. Obviously in the blacks as well, which I think is kind of dulled a little bit because my leg is shiny from the lotion I used. Oh, here's a nice close-up so you can see it a bit better. Yeah, it definitely does make a difference even if you're only unexfoliated for a couple of days. Please don't mind the KP on my legs. That's just how my skin is, man. I don't care, and neither should you. This, as my 3rd example, is the tattoo with a nice thick layer of body oil. I think I used rose hip. I'm not really sure. The bottle is unlabeled. You can see just how shiny it made my skin. In real life, there's a clear difference between this and the last one. This is also like 15-20 minutes after the exfoliating and shaving, as you can see by my leg being a little bit less red. Yeah, it's just an extra layer of shiny. This is a lot more noticeable in real life, I have to say, than on camera. On camera, it just looks like a glare. But if that tells you anything about how shiny it made my leg skin, there you go. I hope this helped as a nice little visualization. Is that the right word? Anyway, back to the video.
So now that we've covered the quick fixes, let's get into long-term care things that you can do for your tattoos and for yourself to help keep your tattoos looking as beautiful as possible and to help your tattoos age as beautifully as possible. So tip number 4, which technically should be the number 1 tip for everyone who wants their tattoos to look nice, is to follow proper aftercare. This is obviously so important because no amount of babying your tattoo after healing is gonna bring back what was potentially lost due to bad aftercare practices. And I know that tattoo aftercare is super individual. Everyone does it slightly differently. Every artist recommends something slightly different. So for now, I'm just gonna say, if you don't have your own aftercare routine already, listen to what your artist says. I do plan on making a video about how I take care of my tattoos, but for that purpose I would have to get a new tattoo, and booking appointments is always kind of scary to me. It sounds so stupid, I know, and it also costs money, so it's probably going to be a while before I can get that up. But take care of your tattoos, please. Tip number 5 is going to be to use sunscreen on your tattoos, or keep them as covered as possible when you know you're going to be outside in the direct sunlight or just in the sun for a long time. Not only is too much sun exposure bad for your skin, period, it can also make your tattoos fade and blur much quicker than they normally would. Yes, your tattoos are going to age anyway, and yes, the lines are going to blur, and yes, the ink will fade, especially if you have color tattoos, but UV rays make that process go so much quicker than it normally would, and you've probably paid a good amount of money for your tattoos, so you might as well take care of them, and in the process of that, take care of your skin, because skin cancer is not fun. I personally love Kit's 50 SPF sunscreen because they tend to be a little less sticky and a bit more liquidy and easier to apply than other sunscreens. I like those spray-on ones because I have like large areas to cover for tattoos, and I just slather it on like literally from head to toe if I'm going out in the summer anyway. So I need a lot, and I don't want to be sticky. We've covered this. I hate being sticky. I hate being oily. So Kit sunscreen is where it's at for me. I also see people recommend sunscreen sticks a lot. I feel like those can be very helpful if you only have like a couple small tattoos, or for like on the go for touch-ups and stuff. I haven't personally found a sunscreen stick that I really like, so if you have recommendations, please do let me know. My only requirements are that it is cruelty-free. I would prefer it to be vegan, but it doesn't have to be, and that I can buy it in mainland Europe without paying like an insane amount in shipping and taxes. That's those are my only requirements. Other than that, you know, let me know. In the same kind of vein, I feel like this doesn't need its own bullet point, but I feel like I need to say it. Limit or avoid sunbed use as much as possible. I know not everyone wants to look like Casper the fucking Ghost all the time, but like I said, skin cancer is really not fucking fun, and fake tan is such a good alternative. Obviously, I know people can actually need it for skin conditions or just like overall health stuff. I understand that. That's why I said limit it as much as possible, and if you're only going in the sunbed to get a tan, maybe think about starting to use fake tans. Just give it a go. And we are down to the very last tip, which is probably the most important for your overall health, and that is to stay hydrated while moisturizing from the outside in with your favorite lotions and oils and everything is nice, and it's going to keep your skin soft and plump. Hydrating from the inside out is going to double that effect. And for me personally, I can always tell by my lips and by my skin if I've drank enough water, and no amount of exfoliating and moisturizing and doing all those things is going to help that like dry, cracked skin and like my dry, cracked lips go away until I hydrate properly and get enough water in my body. But also don't give yourself like water poisoning. Drinking enough water not only helps your skin and your lips and everything stay nice and hydrated so you have a nice canvas for your tattoos, it's also really good for your overall health. So that was like a really long run-on sentence with no ending. It's good for your overall health. And who doesn't love pissing every 15 minutes? If you've made it this far, congratulations, you're at the end of this video. Please let me know in the comments below what your favorite lotion or body oil or sunscreen or all three of those are, because I'm always on the hunt for a good lotion, for a good body oil that maybe doesn't leave me sticky. I haven't found one so far, but apparently there's ones out there. I would love to hear from you. As always, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!